Elon is targeting Pestany now. Oh yeah, I saw that as well. Isn't that interesting that Sex Pestany, who has said unlimited violence, has threatened me with death threats, is now getting a taste of his own medicine after utilizing right-wing groups and right-wing content creators for years and years to actively try to get me deplatformed. He is now getting shafted by the very same right-wing forces that he has expertly used to his advantage to try and unsuccessfully deplatform me. And now the chickens are coming home to roost for him. Will this cause his community to reconsider these allegiances? Probably not. Now, for many, many years, through unlimited envy and anger and resentment, this person has decided that that I was the number one villain that was creating a real threat that might tackle American democracy. What's interesting about that, of course, is that in the process of designing me for his own cult-like community as the number one enemy, he basically took on positions that were diametrically opposite to mine, including but not limited to being a supporter of Israel and its genocide, but also aligning with a lot of people that wanted to kill me, including vile neo-Nazis such as Sam Hyde on
2 years ago on Twitch, but yeah.
You created him, I have to kill him.
Well, if you're trying to fundraise for that, I would absolutely help you.
And also vile neo-Nazis such as Nick Fuentes. He quite literally turned around and hung out with Nick Fuentes and propped him up when he was an irrelevant character, an irrelevant side character. He gave his phone number to all these other podcasts and whatnot.
Fuentes should be worshiping me because I am literally I was the only lifeline that he had to like being able to breach like mainstream political conversations.
He didn't care because he is a debate mercenary, if you will. He didn't have any sort of real ideology. And while he was doing so, for years and years, he used his community to find whatever they could to negatively frame me, to present me in a false light through a somewhat sophisticated smear operation. This operation also obviously took new light and a renewed strength when he associated himself with Zionist groups in this country that are also just as insane, but this time with a level of institutional, with a level of institutional control and influence. A big part of the clips that are flying all around the internet right now about how violent I have been came from his community. They've been at this game for quite a while to limited success. It hasn't really worked at all. He's aligned with the likes of Ethan Klein. That backfired spectacularly on him. Members of his community have also aligned with far-right figures that have also ended up hurting them in the aftermath of their association. But now, one of the last allegiances that they had put together is also backfiring on them. Here's Lonerbox and Dan Saltman, who spent a year branding me as a terrorist supporter over my Palestine advocacy and lobbied congressmen to take action against me, worrying about how those exact same congressmen now want to throw Destiny in jail. Let's take a look at this video.
So, like, congressmen are tweeting at the FBI telling them to investigate Hasan and throw him in jail, and the same thing with Destiny.
That's kind of insane. Yeah.
It's not kind of insane. It's
yeah, nuts. It's very insane. Yeah, it's very bad. It's very insane. Yeah. Yeah, it's not good.
They literally engaged in fascist censorship attempts when they thought it would eradicate the left, that it would eradicate my support, it would get me deplatformed. And now those exact same motherfuckers, including Elon Musk, who was recently retweeted, who recently retweeted Dan Stalkman for a clip compilation that Destiny's community had created that Tectone posted. That very same Elon Musk is now saying Destiny should be arrested. Phil Labonte, if you just saw Destiny endorse political violence today, be advised that this is not a one-time thing and it's not new. Let him say what he wants, but then also pay the price under the law. Elon Musk, I don't think this jackass should be banned, but Amazon should stop paying him to incite murder. That's insane. Separately, incitement to murder and domestic terrorism is a felony crime. For that, he should go to prison. He can resume streaming when he has served his term. The chickens are coming home to and roost. They thought he got recently banned, by the way. Yeah, I saw this. He said, unreal. Elon Musk and other conservatives just got me banned from Twitch. My entire income is gone now. So much for the party of free speech, which of course happened a long time ago. And it's ironic because the reasons why he got banned, if conservatives knew, they would probably actually defend him. At the time, they may have. I don't even remember. But it was an endless torrent of not so liberal commentary that he was engaging with, whether it be attacking trans people or whether it be demanding that white supremacists drive over Black Lives Matter protesters because he was worried that BLM protesters were actually going to ruin Joe Biden's chances of winning the 2020 election.
The rioting needs to fucking stop. And if that means like white redneck militia dudes out there mowing down dip protesters that think that they could torch buildings at 10 p.m., then at this point they have my blessing, because holy shit, this needs to stop. It needed to stop a long time ago.
Of course, Laura Loomer is one of the dumbest fucking morons out there and ate the bait and said, you should have thought about that before you decided to justify political violence. They're so stupid. And Representative Anna Paulina Luna said, I have forwarded this to the FBI for investigation. Inciting violence and murder. This guy's disturbed and unhinged, needs to be investigated.
Hash out the crime statistics? Not exactly like...
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. The issue is right now, they don't feel like there's any fear. Like, I don't know. It's like memes. It's just memes to everybody, I guess. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't care. I'm playing video games. Okay, I'm done today. I don't give a God, it's gonna be so fucking gay if I get killed in the next fucking 2 months of shit I'm doing. Well, the cuck shit out here. Please don't anybody make any actual, the most cucked, weak ass, bullshit ass speeches on my side. God, if it happens, holy shit, I'm gonna make a death note before I go out to go live and not. God, it's so cucked. It's so optics cucked.
After spending years and years saying some of the most heinous, insane, unhinged shit over and over and over again, and routinely also, to be fair to him, giving it to the Republicans as well, including, but not limited to, talking about the firefighter that got shot behind Donald Trump in terms that really frustrated a lot of conservatives, and openly spending every waking moment, becoming even more unhinged. Like when he went on the Piers Morgan show and said this, Destiny just said the quiet part out loud, this conservative says.
I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. I think that liberals need to wake.
And now Tim Pool is farming him as well. Liberal calls for the death of conservatives following the Charlie Kirk assassination. He did 20 minutes on this. And Donald Trump Jr. is posting about it, saying this is the mainstream of the Democrat Party. I don't even know what the f to say. These motherfuckers are literally using Destiny's Community's clips because they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find anything recent of me saying anything that's even remotely advocating for violence or anything like that specifically. And I know they're looking. I know that right-wing groups are currently desperately looking for anything that they can tie me back to Charlie Kirk in a violent manner. And DGG basically gave him all of the shit that, you know, is readily available out there. All this like false framing, all this out of context. But then those very same forces that these guys often collaborated with are now coming after Destiny as well, because he can't be normal ever. Do you think everything he said is covered by free speech? Yes, I do. Everything that he's saying here is incisive deliberately. But what he's very clearly trying to say is that, like, Donald Trump needs to lower the temperature. That's what he's trying to say. It's ridiculous for liberals to cave and capitulate to demands of lowering the temperature when the main figure in American politics, the goddamn president, is not doing so at all and is using this tragedy as an opportunity to stamp out any sort of political dissent. Like, that's what he's implying.
Investigation has now established that he had been radicalized by a leftist ideology, which drove him to do this.
Popular streamer Destiny refused to condemn the assassination. Charlie Kirk says you need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed. On Piers Morgan, I won't condemn anything until Trump can go on air and say all of us need to calm down. On stream, you need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so they look at their leadership to turn down the temperature. Yeah, I mean, we watched both of these clips. That's basically what he said, yes. And he said this recently, for the record. He said this recently. Why is he rage baiting? Because he is a nihilistic debate mercenary that doesn't give a he thinks you shouldn't be optics cucked, which of course in many circumstances implies that you can, as a white guy, say the N-word, for example. Like it's totally irrelevant and unproductive ways in which he advocates for certain things. Like it's just stupid. He's ultimately a nihilistic edgelord, and as someone who is nearing 40 years old, he just runs around and is like, ooh, I'm saying bad words that you're not supposed to say. I'm saying bad things that you're not supposed to say. And he wears that as a badge of honor. Yeah, he's the closest you can get to being a liberal groiper, literally. It's also been an abject failure. His own son is a Nazi. His own son that he refused to educate and refused to look after because he's too busy frolicking around trying to procure child sexual abuse material from random Discord e-girls. In the process of doing that, he literally created a Nazi son, a Groiper son. That's what happened. So it's an abject failure. And now here we are. Guess who made it on the Fox News primetime and they did zero research on him? Far left streamer. Now he's banned.
And the far left is acting like Charlie had it coming.
If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive,
God, these people are so dumb. Dude, it's awesome though, because now they got like one scalp in their minds. They got one scalp. So then they're like, oh, finally, like we got one. Okay, maybe they'll quiet down. You know
Donald
what I
Trump
mean?
shouldn't have been president for the second term.
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature. The issue is right now, they don't feel like there's any fear.
That guy's name's Destiny, and he just learned his fate. He's fired and banned from making any more
It literally says kick right here, you idiot. It says kick right there, dumb. I wonder why. I wonder why he's on kick and not on. Anyway, we shouldn't even tell him. No, he got banned. Twitch is taking these concerns and they are running with those concerns. And by that, I mean, they banned him so hard. They banned him before he even said those things on Twitch.
on his site. You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when you go to events? CNN is defending this guy.
We can't punish people for disagreeing with us. We can't punish people for being jerks and celebrating the death of someone. That's not illegal.
It's pretty funny that Jesse Waters, the day after Charlie Kirk's assassination, or like hours after Charlie Kirk's assassination, was like, it's war. We have to start physically apprehending people. Like it's war. We have to take it to the left. We have to do something to the left, right? Like immediately after. And then he's like, wow, I can't believe these guys are saying such violent things on the Democrat Party side, on the extreme left.
Illegal, and that shouldn't be who we are.
She's right. It's not illegal to say Charlie deserved to die and you're glad he did. They have a right to say that, but we have a right to fire you.
I genuinely can't believe this is a separate clip. They're not defending him specifically. I know, of course they're not defending him. But it is funny that these guys are so stupid and so susceptible to misinformation that even when this dude turns around and trolls people by being like, oh no, I got banned, by showing the actual time that he got banned, which was many years ago at this point, they're like, hell yeah, we got one.
You can't walk into the office and say you're into homicide. You can't work at CNN and tweet, I'm comfortable with cold-blooded murder.
What do you mean? Dog, a prominent anchor on your network, Brian Kilme, quite literally said that about homeless people, which includes, of course, homeless veterans as well. A group of homeless people that you guys love to avoid talking about until you want to talk about how much money we're spending on immigrants or some shit. He just straight up said, we should kill homeless people. Like, not even, like, that's it. That's what he said. He said we should straight up kill homeless people, dude. That is crazy. Also, speaking of which, 13 people hurt in 2 mass shootings at the Minneapolis homeless encampments on the same day, apparently. At least 13 people have been wounded, 5 critically, and 2 shootings that erupted over a span of 12 hours at homeless encampments in Minneapolis. The mayor is saying he shouldn't be surprised if they are connected. He wouldn't be surprised if they're connected. The shootings on Monday marked the 4th and 5th mass shootings to occur in Minneapolis over the past 3 weeks, including one on August 27th at Annunciation. I can't even read anymore. Annunciation Catholic school that left 2 children dead and 21 people injured. Yeah, here's what Brian Kilmeade said. This guy.
Billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to the...
I like that he also clarified, like, if people don't know what involuntary euthanasia means, look at his face, bro. Wait.
It has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something.
Yep. He went, yeah, and then stop. Look, please. Look at his reaction. Look at his fucking reaction.
Or something.
Yeah.
Lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Yeah.
Right. I would say this. We're not voting for the right people. In North Carolina, wake up.
Yeah, we're not voting for the right people. We should be voting for the people who will kill the homeless. I can't. This is so funny. Yeah, no, he apologized. He did. He had to apologize. Of course he had to apologize. We are so far removed. We are so far removed from like accountability or anything like that, especially on the conservative side. Like, it is unironically seen as like a major freedom that you have if you are right wing, you know?
The murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina. And how to stop these kinds of attacks by homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve our empathy and compassion.
Man, remember when you got banned for Medicare fraud? Imagine if you said anything near this, but you know the right is never violent. I know. This doesn't mean that, like, those of us on the left should get to say stuff like this in general. We can't get away with it, and we shouldn't say it anyway. But, like, understand that this is how it works. Like, there is no... I know I farm the hypocrisy points all the time because, unfortunately, dullard-ass normies actually respond to that, especially those in the margins. And it's certainly a weapon that the Republicans have wielded for a very long time. But the reality of the matter is, these guys don't give a f. Yeah, they're hypocritical. Like, they don't care. They're just lying. They're stupid. They're lying. They're hateful. It is what it is, you know? I genuinely don't know what to do. Like, what do you do when half of the 2 major parties in this country, like 1/2 of the entire political system is just operating on lies and hysteria? Libs think hypocrisy is like a poison debuff. Yeah.
More people need to be killed.
Anyway, that's funny that, like, again, Jesse Waters, only a couple days after being like, we have to do war to the left, is like, wow, I can't believe how intolerant these libtards are.
Speech is free, but you're not free from the consequences. If you're glad Charlie's dead and thought he had it coming, I'm supposed to sit next to you in the break room? You're going to teach my kid at school or serve in government? And I'm supposed to just say, free speech. You're advertising that you're a maniac and that you have no decency, compassion, or humanity.
I mean, like, low key, that's how I feel about being around Republicans who celebrate deaths of not just like one person, but entire swaths of the population. That's what it feels like if you're anti-Zionist, if you're anti-Israel, and you're surrounded by these people who are just like you're surrounded by these people who are looking at all that death and destruction and going, that's awesome. We want more of it. And you should shut the fuck up. But once again, I always say, like, this goes back to how violence is perceived by the masses. if it's institutions, if it's institutional violence, if it's systemic violence, if it's the violence of the state, it's not considered violence by the masses. So as long as the government doing it, right, you can maybe get mad at the process, right? Oh, wow, like we're bombing this country. Oh, you didn't get proper clearance or permission from Congress. You know, at most, that's the anger and resentment people have. I remember this when we were talking about bombing Yemen, which is a rite of passage for every American president. And like even in the Signal Gate, the main point of contention for everybody was how big of a security failure this was, that drunk ass Pete Hegseth had brought in the editor of The Atlantic into the group chat when he was talking about how they're going to be bombing Yemen. And that was the major point of contention. No one was like saying, hey, why the fuck are we bombing a sovereign country? Can someone explain that to me? Like, that's pretty fucked up. That's pretty unacceptable. Why are we doing that? And that to me is indicative of the way that we see state violence, right? Another glaring example of that, like the societal reflection on violence, who gets to do it, who gets to be the recipient of it, and how non-state actors are those who are considered violent, was when Benjamin Netanyahu went on Fox News and just sat there and was like, the type of violence that seeks to silence dissent is one that I'm all too familiar with. And I was like, the f*** do you mean? You've killed every journalist in Gaza, motherfucker. You're a war criminal. You're doing the Holocaust. And you just sit there and you go, oh, I can't believe like the violence that took out Charlie Kirk. It's coming in my direction too. The very fact that people's immediate response to that isn't like, says you? Really? You're modern day Adolf Hitler. What the f*** do you mean? Is that asymmetry, is the lack of reflection from the broader society, from the masses, on who gets to do violence. And this is precisely the reason why right-wingers can get away with coming across as not violent, because they simply want more of the things that are happening. If the systems themselves are inherently violent to those who are working poor, to homeless people, to black people, brown people, undocumented people, trans people, gay people, and you just keep demanding more of that, right? Then technically you're not making a major call to arms. You're just saying, I want more of the thing that already happens. And that's it. That's how these guys can get away with making these sorts of statements, while simultaneously broader society does not understand exactly how violent this shit is. Or at least those in the margins don't understand exactly how violent the things that Republicans are demanding truly are. Obviously, if you're black, and when you hear someone like Charlie Kirk be like, you know, police brutality is necessary because black people are violent and doing something, you know, something along those lines. When Charlie Kirk relitigates the same exact racist tropes that have impacted black Americans, he can get away with saying that. Black people understand it's violent, but the broad majority does not. They just think, what do you mean? He's just saying it like it is. What, do you not want police? Do you want people to just like keep doing rapes and whatnot? And it becomes this like endeavor to have to explain to people, you know? And in the process of that explainer, they turn around and they say, oh God, you're the real divisive guy. You're being quite divisive, sir. Why are you calling out my racism? Why are you trying to describe my racism? And I will say, while I've always tried to understand this, I would say that in my professional career, until these past 2 years, I never truly got how enraging it is to constantly have to explain a position with the knowledge in your mind that the broad majorities of society are not going to see you as a full human being. They're always going to have that implicit bias until the Islamophobia kicked into high gear with the whole Israel stuff. I always thought I understood it, but I never truly understood it. I never truly understood, even though I empathize with it and I obviously defended these groups, the unimaginable frustration of having to constantly eat it with the full knowledge that people that are watching, people that are listening, onlookers, maybe even loved ones, right? People that you thought were allies and friends will never understand. They just won't, especially if they're, you know, let's be real, white men. You can try to understand it, and there's no problem with like not fully being able to comprehend it. I certainly did it fully comprehended for many, many years because I'm a white passing dude. I'm a white guy. I'm 6'4". I'm traditionally attractive by Western standards. So like when I was advocating for trans people, or when I was advocating for black people, when I was advocating for undocumented migrants, like there was always a level of security that I had, or a not being directly in the targeted group, the dehumanization. I just didn't, I never experienced what it's like fully because I didn't live here post 9/11. Remember, I only came here in 2000. Well, I guess I technically came here. I mean, I came here post 9/11, but like I missed the most heated moments, right? I came here in 2009, and even when I was experiencing it, it didn't feel that bad, and I overlooked it. But it is so frustrating that I know for a fact, for example, that there is a decent percentage of the population that will never, ever on this issue, on the issue of Israel, on the issue that they have bracketed off as like a Muslim issue, right? There are a ton of people who will just never listen to what I have to say. It's also part of the reason why I value Jewish allies, white allies in this stuff, because those people can make a larger impact.